Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio, and it's New Year's Day, January 1st, 2010. I'm really happy to be here. This is Child Abuse Prevention, and Human Rights Abuse Prevention is up to us, and I'm glad you can join in here, and hopefully you can get something out of this show. It's a half an hour tonight, and if you're just hanging around with nothing much to do and you want to phone in, you can call me. I have a guest call-in number, area code 917-889-3736. And if you're in the chat room, be sure to hang in there. I do check my chat room periodically. And I'm just really looking forward to this show. I thought we'd keep going with domestic violence, as I did a 1-hour show. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or the day before, because the days are kind of glomming together because I've been so busy. But I did a 1-hour show regarding domestic violence and some of the organizations out there that are doing some great work, and just some real hopeful organizations that are offering hope to everyone. And I just want to share some more of those with you. And that's what this show is really all about. I'm not a counselor. I'm not qualified to give anybody any professional counseling or any advice regarding legal advice. I'm just one person who's concerned and cares very much for people, and human rights is just such an issue with me, and it sits right at my very core. And so I'm just really happy to be here, and I just lost my switchboard page, so hopefully I can get that back. I'm still streaming. So I thought we'd just keep going. We were talking about the issue of domestic violence. It is such a huge issue. It's an epidemic all around the world. It's not just in North America. This is everywhere. And it really needs to stop. There's a lot of reasons for it, and stresses and people who just are out of control, and that's the whole point of domestic violence. It's all about control. And really, there's just some helpful information out there. If you're a person who is in an abusive relationship and you're suffering in a domestic violence situation, make sure that you reach out and start looking around for avenues to get yourself to a safe place, because this is very important to me. As I grew up in a home that was abusive and violent, and I know what it's like to suffer from secondhand domestic violence. So I would care very much about people, and I hope that you would reach out and get some help. So we'll just keep going with the information we were going with. But I want to mention first a petition that was brought to my attention. It's on Go Petition. So it's www.gopetition.com, and you can go on there. Just go on the website, and you can scroll down. It's called Add Cyberstalking to Restraining Orders, and if I signed it, and I hope that you will sign it. It's very important. They need 5,000 signatures in order to take this to the Washington, D.C., to the White House to make it a law. And it's very important. If you've ever been in a situation where you were in a domestic violence situation or harassment situation where someone was cyberstalking you, you would definitely want this to be a law, and that is to add cyberstalking to restraining orders. And I just think it's really important, and it's an area that now, because cyberstalking is such a problem, it really needs to be added to restraining orders. And I agree with it 100%. And I just hope that you'll go to sign that petition. It only takes about 10 seconds. It's so it just doesn't take any time at all. So I would ask that you would do that. That's for Deanna Phelps, and she's a director for Silver Braid, one of the Silver Braid groups. So Silver Braid Domestic Violence Resource and Education, and that's her website. Deanna Phelps is silverbraidnorcal.weebly.com, and you can go on that website and you can get some great information regarding domestic violence resources and education. And there's NorCal meetings. You can find out when the meetings are happening, and if there is a meeting that's in your area, you can get in on it. If you have suffered with domestic violence and you're looking for some support, there's some support. If you're looking for faith-based support, I belong to a faith-based support group on Facebook, but it's through Facebook, but it's actually a Ning group, and it's Silver Braid Survivors Support Group for women of sexual or violent abuse. And if you need that information, be sure and get a hold of me, because I love this website. I'm a member, and you can go on as you don't even have to use your real name. You can go on as an anonymous person, and you can talk to real survivors of violent and sexual abuse, and you can talk to them, people who understand and who have been through these situations and know what it's like to be living with this, and they're just there to support you, and they're there to support me, and that's why I'm passing this on to you, because I found some great support there. Donna is heading that up, and she's the creator of that group, and I just I can't tell you how much healing is there. You know what I mean? It's people there understand and know where you're coming from. So I would suggest that you get on there and check that out. And if you need more information, let me know. And the Silver Braid organization is just awesome. It was actually founded by Ann Bissell, and it just really deals with all types of survivors of sexual exploitation and just any kind of abuse, really. Domestic violence, sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, just anything and everything. Just type in silverbraid.org, and you can find their information right there, and it's wonderful. So I thought I'd just pass that on to you today. Help Guide, that's what we were talking about the last time. We were reading, I was actually reading right from this Help Guide information that I pulled off the web, because I found it so helpful. And if I was in a domestic violence situation, I would really like to have this information. It really went into depth and detail about understanding domestic violence and abuse, and that now I've always known that men are victims as well as women, and so that I knew that already. But there's all sorts of information here about signs that you're in an abusive relationship, and like if you're not sure and you think it might just be you, or someone's told you that it's just you, there's all kinds of handy information there that you can go through, and you can define for yourself whether you are in an abusive relationship, and then it tells you how to go about getting yourself to a safer place, how to go about making those very important steps. And I tell you, I'll tell you right now, if your life is being threatened, and you feel that your life is threatened and your children's lives are being threatened, leave the show, dial 911 right now. I'd rather you just do that and come back and catch the show on archive or something. Your life matters to me. I tell you, it's so important. You matter to me. I had to learn that myself, and so that's why I'm passing this on to you. If you've ever been made to feel that you were not worth it, and that your life just doesn't matter, that's incorrect. It's not good information, and someone's been feeding you a pack of lies. And I'm telling you right now, firsthand experience, that I understand this. I know what it's like, and you do matter. You are important, and I want you to get the help that you need. And so I hope that you can just sit back and listen to some of this good information here. This is found on Help. If you just go and type in on your browser, helpguide.org. That's where you can find this information. And it's under the Domestic Violence and Abuse tab, and you can just pull it right up and look at it. It has everything to do with physical violence, emotional, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, violent and abusive behavior is the abuser's choice. I really thought this was interesting. I'd like to read a little bit through there, because sometimes, when people are in abusive situations, they don't recognize things until someone points it out to them. So I think I'd just like to read a little bit about that. And they say, abusers use a variety of tactics to manipulate you and exert their power. Dominance, humiliation, isolation, threats, intimidation, denial, and blame are some of the ways that abusers use to manipulate you and exert their power. Dominance, abusive individuals need to feel in charge of the relationship. They will make decisions for you and the family, tell you what to do, and expect you to obey without question. Your abuser may treat you like a servant, a child, or even as a possession. So, this is some good information. Humiliation. An abuser will do everything they can to make you feel bad about yourself or defective in some way. After all, if you believe you're worthless and that no one else will want you, you're less likely to leave. Insults, name-calling, shaming, and public put-downs are all weapons of abuse designed to erode your self-esteem and make you feel powerless. And I saw this within my own family, so I understand all about this. It was directed towards me and other members of my family from my parents and also to each other. And, unless you've really lived with that, it's kind of hard for people to understand what that's like. But it is very humiliating, and it does cause a lot of damage, a lot of real, emotional and psychological damage. So you want to make sure that you get help. Don't sit and suffer with this in silence. That's the big thing, and that's why this show is here, really, just to be one more voice, just saying, no, this has to stop, and that the more people we can get to stand up and say no, the more it's out in the public eye. That always bothered me, that the only time you ever see anything about abuse is when somebody's been killed in the paper, or if there was a terrible happening and it made the news, right? But there's never anything in there about, the fact that this is going on and it needs to stop, and that's why this show is here. So, yeah, I have a guest call-in number if you'd like to call in with any kind of topic information, if you think that there's something helpful that a listener might really need to hear and that could be really helpful for them. Please do phone in. It's area code 917-889-3736, and it is a U.S. number. So you can, if you're down in the States there and you have a good long-distance plan, you can phone in. I know the cheaper way to do it is just to register as a user on blogtalkradio.com, and you can register as a user and sit in on the chat room. And I do check my chat room periodically. And if you have any questions, you can leave them there. Make sure you mark private, though, if you want it to stay just between me and you, so I don't read it out. And isolation. Isolation is another way that abusers use to manipulate people and their spouse or their partner. In order to increase your dependence on them, an abusive partner will cut you off from the outside world. They may keep you from seeing family or friends, or even prevent you from going to work or school. You may have to ask permission to do anything, go anywhere, or see anyone. And that's just, that's bad news, because obviously if they can keep you away from your family and away from your friends, destroy those relationships and keep you bound under their thumb, then they can do whatever they please, and no one's going to intervene and no one's going to know. Threats. Abusers commonly use threats to keep their partners from leaving or to scare them into dropping charges. Your abuser may threaten to hurt you or kill you, your children, other family members, or even pets. They may also threaten to commit suicide, file false charges against you, or report you to child services. So this is all stuff that I have seen firsthand in my life, and it's a bad way to live. I've seen it in my friends' lives, actually, and their parents. So I have seen this multiple times when I was growing up as a youth. Didn't know any better to really to say anything or get involved because of the way that I grew up, and the friends that I had were all living similar to me, and even though they might not have experienced as much physical abuse as I did, they still were dealing with domestic violence within their own home. And so, it was just part of life. And when it becomes part of life, you don't do anything about it. And that's why I just feel that this show is so important, that we can just say that it's not right and it shouldn't be part of life. It shouldn't be the norm in your home, Everyone deserves the right to life and to a good life and health and happiness and education and, just the whole gamut. And I study human rights and child rights, and it's just so important to recognize what the abuse is and recognize it for what it is and just stop it. And I have a caller in the chat room. I'll just, actually on the switchboard here. Hello, are you there? Is this 111? Hi there.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
Not bad. Did you have a question or something you wanted to add in there?
Oh, I was just very interested in your show, and
thank you.
Sent me an email to come on your show.
Oh, okay. Is this Michelle?
No, it's Linda.
Oh, Linda. Hi. How are you? That's awesome. I didn't get any. I didn't. You know what? I didn't check that actual that website. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. This is awesome. So, Yeah. So now you have your own website,
Mhm.
and that's www.artbylindalee.
That's right. Mhm.
And that's awesome. I went on there, and I just spent some time looking around that website, and the information there is just awesome. And I've been passing it on to people as I go, and lots of people are actually starting to check it out, and they're saying, "Oh, this is just great."
That's
So
great.
so you're really out there, another voice,
Mhm.
You're an inspiration to me. I know. I read your bio, and I just thought, here is someone who, it just inspires me to keep going and keep talking and keep spreading the word.
Mhm. I'm
That's
glad
what.
to see that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we do. We need to. We need to. I think it's really important. And I know when I saw your stuff there, I just thought, this is so good. And you were part of the child abuse monument there in Toronto.
Yep.
That's awesome. So you actually got to do the handprint.
Yep. That's been going on for I guess over 10 years now, and
Okay.
it's in the like he has the monuments not totally completed, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be launching that soon, so it'll be in the news and that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
So yeah, so if anybody wants to go, just sort of keep tabs on that, they can just go to. You can just go to the type in child abuse monument on the web there, and it comes up. I know that's what I did. I just typed in child abuse monument,
Mhm. That's right.
and it
There's
just
a
brought
lot
it
of
up.
information out there about it. There is a link on my site as well for
Oh yeah.
that. And
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that I did put a link on to the dream catchers as well.
Mhm. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah,
Right
because I
on.
got that from you.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great organization as well. I just recently started volunteering for them, and because they don't have anybody in Canada as except for me. So anybody else who wants to get in on it.
Well, that's great, because I'm from Canada too. I'm in Toronto, right? So.
Yeah, that's right. I know. That's why I'm just so happy to actually get to talk to you. This is awesome. I'm so glad you phoned in.
What
So
a better way to start the year, eh?
Oh, this is yeah, no kidding. This is great. Well, I really appreciate it. I know that's right, and you're on Blog Talk Radio as well.
Well, I haven't started anything there yet, but once I get the extra time there to do that, that'll be
cool.
Yep.
Right on. But if somebody wanted to send you a message, they could. Well, yeah, and yeah, if there's anything that you wanted to ever, to add or anything like that, yeah, please do. I know I'm just kind of really pushing domestic violence right now, just because with the holidays there's so much domestic violence. It's just quite known that during the holiday season there's so many more domestic violence calls to the police and to the to emergency rooms and whatnot. And I thought, what better time to be talking about domestic violence? Yeah, right. and I know, like we just have to keep reaching out and just keep just keep working towards healing and just moving forward and getting more and more information out there.
Because it's an everyday issue, It's not like they do have a National Awareness Day or month, but I think it's every day should be an awareness month about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Every day,
That is exactly right. Because having a month a year, sometimes you hear about it, sometimes you don't, and this is something going on all year long, and it needs to stop. It just needs to stop. And there's so many people out there. We know there's lots of children out there who are being abused. We know there's lots of men and women out there being abused, and it just needs to stop.
So if anybody's going through any hardships, there's a lot of information out there. They can check out that monument project. There's that. There's counseling of all sorts out there.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I know, and that's what I'm finding as I'm doing. Actually, that's kind of what's happened as I'm doing these Blog Talk Radio shows, because I'm researching and I'm like, wow, there's a wealth of information out there. But why is nobody's talking about it? Like you don't hear. I just the only thing you ever see is terrible statistics in the paper and in the news. And it's always usually it's bad news then, because it's either someone's been killed or some serious thing where the news was dragged in. That's what I was just talking about. It's kind of, why does it have to? why is that all we're ever going to hear about it? You know, like there has to be more people talking about it in the mainstream everyday talk, because obviously this is a huge problem.
Yeah,
you know?
And
it's affecting us all.
The children, we got to protect them, and that's why I'm just in the process of getting Stop Child Abuse bracelets made up.
Oh yeah.
And
right on.
You know, just to create more awareness.
Yeah, that's right. That's great. Well, I'll be checking in on that. Are you going to have that on your website there?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I'm a kind of a frequent, I'm in there quite a bit, so I'll be looking for that, and then the listeners can be looking for those as well.
Yeah, I noticed you signed the guest book.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and I was happy to do it. I actually suggested that people do sign it when they go on there, because it's really important. We just need to keep, just to show some support, you know, because you're a real true survivor, you know, and I'm just so happy to stand with you and just to be there with you, and just to say, you know what, I'm just calling my inspiration, and there's so many inspirational people out there. And as I'm walking my own healing out, you know, I'm running into people, and I'm finding all these people that are just such inspiration to me, and you are one of them for sure.
Thank you. With my background, I came from a fair size of a family. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and it was a very dysfunctional family, the whole situation. And it's sad to say that, you know, I felt all alone in the world. And it was quite the challenge to just survive, and I made it this, you know. Absolutely,
because you're here today. And that's the beautiful part, right?
Yeah.
And that's the message that, you know, really we have for everybody else is, you know, you can do it, it can be done, and that they do matter. You know, that's the whole thing. I'm with you on that. I mean, I experienced that myself as far as feeling very much alone, and really, it was a struggle. So I understand where you're coming from there. And it's been a struggle, you know, for many years until I actually started to believe in myself and say, you know what, no, I do matter. I do matter. And so I'm pushing that big time for people, because sometimes when you grow up in an abusive home and you're abused, and you whether it's verbal or physical, you know, you develop a sense of self-worthlessness. And and that's just not true, and we all matter. And that's the issue. A lot of people then do not seek help. Because they feel that they're not worth it and their life is just meaningless, right? And so that's the big push I'm on, is that, no, it does matter, and everybody does mean something, and that's why we just have to keep speaking it out, and keep speaking about it, talking about it, bringing it out in the public awareness. So this is great. Well, I'm so glad that you phoned in tonight. This is awesome. What a treat.
You're really welcome, and I'm glad to be part of, you know, creating some awareness and an inspiration to other survivors, because unfortunately, there are some people that don't survive, you know.
I know. Well, that's the
sad part.
That's it. That is very sad, and that's what I just think. You know, if we can just prevent that, that's just huge. You know, like 2 of my brothers are not here today, and I really feel in my heart that it's directly due to the abuse that they suffered, and I think, man, you know, like, if they would have just hung on, if they would have had enough hope in their lives, right? And so, that's just the whole issue. There has to be some hope, and that's what I hope to be doing, is spreading some hope. And I know that's what you're doing, and through your art, and you've got some poetry as well.
I'm sorry?
Did you do some poetry as well?
Yes, I did. And I found that to be so helpful and healing. I would suggest any survivor, any person that's been abused, to write. And it will help you. Like, one of the poems I wrote actually brought me out of a dark time, a dark period in my life where I really didn't see any way out, and it was very dark. And when I wrote that, it sort of just brought me out of it.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? It kind of allowed an access for that to come out, so that you could sort of deal with it then, instead of being stuck inside. That's really interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. And can they find that? Now, if I wanted to find that poetry, the poetry that you wrote, can I find it on your website, or?
Yes, on the site you'll find. Actually, there's 3 poems there, and the one that I was just referring to is on there.
Okay, I'll check it out again, because I was looking around. Yeah, I was looking around mostly at the art and stuff, so I will definitely take another look.
Okay.
Because I'd really like to read that. And you have like art on there and just all kinds of stuff. It's a great website.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll just
always changing things. It's fairly new, and I'm pretty happy at how fast things have come together.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll just keep. I'm just going to keep. If you don't mind, I'm just going to keep talking about it because the more people that can see your site, I think there's a lot of healing on that site. I found that when I went there.
There's
I just want to.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was just I just found that when I went on there, I just felt like there was a lot of healing going on. I was like, oh, healing. This is healing. It just brings it about. It just creates that feeling. So I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah. There's a link there for suicide prevention, and there's also a new recently added image to the left, and it's called Interview with God.
Okay.
You got to see that. Click on that image, and you'll it'll be worth your time.
Right on. I'm going to do that. I'll be checking that out.
Great.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. This is awesome.
I'm so happy you had me on your show.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. Absolutely anytime. And if you have anything you'd like to bring up, or if you have something that you really wanted to talk about, let me know, and you can come back on the show anytime.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We can do a special or whatever. If you have something that you really think the listeners need to hear, we can definitely do that.
Sure.
Yeah. That's great.
I want to wish you a great year ahead and a happy 2010.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Well, we'll have to just keep in touch.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that's awesome. That's Linda, and she is a survivor of child abuse, and you can see her bio. You can go right on to www.artbylindalee.com, or it might be .ca because it's Canada, but I'll just check that out. And you can go right on there, and you can see her bio, and also you can see the lovely art that is there. And there is, and she's got some poems which I didn't read, but I had heard that she had done some poetry, and I really wanted to read that. And there's links and resource information, suicide information. So I'm telling you right now, there's about 3 minutes left in the show, and if you or someone who is suffering, or you yourself is suffering with child abuse issues, or you're an adult survivor, or if you're a child right now who's being abused, or if you're in a domestic violence situation, an abusive home, make sure that you dial. If you're in immediate danger, dial 911. Don't take a chance with your life. You could save your own life, and you could save your child's life. And this is a huge thing for me. I want you to do that. And then what I would like for you to do is come back on my show and tell me how you got the help that you needed. Because I'm telling you, there's people. See, we owe it to people. We owe it to ourselves first of all, because you're worth it, and you owe it to yourself and your children. And then we really need to stand and support the survivors who have come through the darkness to the light. And that's, you get out there and find the resources. You will see that because there's millions and millions of people being abused, there's millions and millions of survivors out there walking this out right now. And I know that there's so many that are just, they're finding ways to say, hey, look, you can do it. So reach out, because that's why people that's why Linda is doing what she's doing, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I didn't like what I saw in my world, or even growing up in my youth, and so I decided to stand up and say, you know what, enough is enough. No more silence. And no more silence to me is just, it has to happen. Our voices cannot be silenced any longer, and so that's what I just want to say. It just has to stop. And so if you are in an abusive home or an abusive situation, make sure you get out. And that is www.artbylindalee.com. And you can get some great information on there. There's help, job wanted links, suicide prevention links, child abuse prevention links, professional counseling links, which I would suggest professional counseling, resources, faith-based links. And Linda says never give up. And so that's what I say, never give up. And my brothers gave up, and one committed suicide, and my other brother died of a drug overdose up here in a shelter up here in Calgary, Alberta. And they probably felt like the most unloved people in the world, but they didn't reach out. And I think they didn't have the hope or the resources to reach out. And that's why I'm telling you, if you hear this show, please reach out and get some help. We've only got a few seconds left, and you can go on to Child Abuse Survivors, a safe place for survivors and supporters. I'm a member there, and you can go on there and you can use an anonymous name if you like. You don't even have to use a real name, and get some support if you are an adult survivor of child abuse. And I hope that you'll join me again on Sunday. And until then, have a great rest of your weekend. Happy 2010. And I'd like to wish you a healthy and safe new year. Happy 2010. All the best to you. Bye-bye.